Merry meet, and welcome to Pagan Information Network.
News and notes of interest to pagans from around the world.
Let's see what came in off the broom. Merry meet. Welcome to Pagan Information Network. News and notes of interest to pagans from around the world. Let's see what came in off the broom. BuzzFeed News reports that in addition to Google Play and Apple Store removing Parler, the alt-right-inspired social media platform, from their services, that Amazon Web Services has dropped the network from their servers, effectively hamstringing the service completely. The app has been drowned in death threats towards U.S. officials, which violates AWS's terms of service. The decision comes on the back of a massive suspension across platforms of Donald Trump's social media empire. From Friendster to Facebook and everything in between, big and small tech have stood up and removed Trump, following his encouragement of what is being called by the highest-ranking Republican and Democratic officials an insurrection that Trump helped encourage. It's clear that Parler does not have an effective process to comply with the AWS terms of service, read an email from Amazon. This following the release of a tape by Trump re-rallying people to the Capitol on January 20th. Stay tuned for more.
Merry meet, and welcome to Pagan Information Network. News and notes of interest to pagans from around the world. Let's see what came in off the broom. The Pleiades are a wondrous sight in this northern December sky, but have you ever wondered why there are 6 stars and they're called the Seven Sisters? While many myths spanning different cultures have a theory about that missing sister, some astronomers have a scientific theory, according to an article in Singularity Hub. Barnaby and Ray Norris have studied the Pleiades and made very careful measurements, determining that one star now was actually 2 100,000 years ago. Pleione and Atlas have moved so that the 2 distinct stars were seen in the past, showing that there was a distinct possibility that the Seven Sisters were actually 7 stars. Mythologies ranging from Greek to Australian Aborigines give reason for the hidden sister as missing, abducted, or hidden away from Orion. Stay tuned for more.
Merry meet. Welcome to Pagan Information Network. News and notes of interest to pagans from around the world. Let's see what came in off the broom. News4Jax.com reports farmers digging in a citrus grove near Mexico Gulf's coast have found a striking 6-foot-tall statue of a female figure who may represent an elite woman rather than a goddess, or some mixture of the two, experts said on Friday. The National Institute of Anthropology and History said it was the first such statue found in a region known as the Huasteca. The carved woman has an elaborate hairpiece and the marks of status, and may date to around 1450 to 1521, the Institute said, while the site where it was found is nearer to the pre-Hispanic ruin site of El Tajín. The statue shows some influences of the Aztecs. Institute archaeologist Maria Eugenia Maldonado Vite wrote that this could be a ruler based on her posture and attire more than a goddess, a late fusion between the team goddesses and women of high political or social status in the Huasteca. Those goddesses were part of the fertility cult. Stay tuned for more.
Merry meet. Welcome to Pagan Information Network. News and notes of interest to pagans from around the world. Let's see what came in off the broom. The Guardian reports on the 3%ers and Oath Keepers, right-wing extremist groups that have long inserted themselves in environmental issues in America's rural West. Time and again, these groups have stepped in the way of conservation efforts in the name of violent protest. Largest and most notable is the armed militia led by Cliven Bundy that held out on federal land to protest the removal of free-range cow ranching that has been destroying the local environment. The rarity of arrests and indictments, and the botched persecutions that followed in the wake of these acts of terrorism in the West sent a message that law enforcement will turn a blind eye to alt-right lawlessness by overwhelmingly white perpetrators, said Eric Molvar of the Western Watershed Project. The mob violence that swarmed the halls of the Capitol building and other government offices this past weekend flows from these smaller armed insurrections by domestic terrorists across the West. Stay tuned for more.
Merry meet, and welcome to Pagan Information Network. News and notes of interest to pagans from around the world. Let's see what came in off the broom. A 66-year-old event in Japan has people plunging into cold water to pray for coronavirus relief. According to an article in Reuters, the Shinto ritual at the Teppo-zu Inari Shrine was attended by a dozen people this year instead of more than 100 in 2020. In the ritual, men in loincloths and women in white robes enter an ice bath on the second Sunday of January and pray to ancestors and spirits for things like peace. This year, however, an end to the pandemic was added to the list. Fewer participants meant the water was colder for longer, but their determination was key to making sure that their prayers were heard. Stay tuned for more.
Merry meet! Welcome to Pagan Information Network, news and notes of interest to pagans from around the world. Let's see what came in off the broom. The Brussels Times reports on a town in Belgium apologizing for a 130-year-old witchcraft trial. Her name was Kathleen van der Bulke, a woman from the small town of Nederland. Kathleen had an unfortunate past where her mother had been burned as a witch before her. On her arrest in November of 1589, her advocate had made the allusion to the rumors current in the countryside, where she lived of witchcraft and her involvement. Witnesses for the prosecution, including two neighbors attempting to buy off accusations against themselves, alleged that she had been unable to remember her Christian prayers and had been involved in the sudden illness of a horse in a fire that destroyed a local home. In November of last year, a group of supporters organized on Facebook obtained the municipal authorities to promise that the memorial stone to her would be replaced with a new description. The town will also issue a formal apology for the miscarriage of justice. Stay tuned for more.